again. And in fact, the only hall that I got for this was AC3 Max. So I was worried because even in LTs normally, the crowd that turns up, and thank God all three sides of the aisle has crowd in it. Thank you so much. So why are we having this workshop? It's on persuade without power. So persuasive skills with power is something all of us are aware of, something we have done in the past, but persuasion without power is something that happens in real life, but we don't take cognizance of that each time we do it. So I remember the first time I had to do a client presentation selling a small concept which my company had built. And at the end of the presentation, I remember the client coming telling, hey, you sell pretty well. So I ran to my boss and I said, hey, you know what? The presentation went really well. And my boss asked me, okay, how do you know that? I said, the client said that you sell really well. And my boss said, the very fact that the client knew that you were selling showed that you were not a good salesperson. You sell in such a way that the other person does not know you're selling. So that's when I realized how subtle the art of sales is and how relevant and how important is this art for us here, especially in our B school. Of course, another reason is what happens in the point of sale is something which we don't focus in a B school. We focus more on the marketing side of it. And all these strategies go off when it comes to the point of sale. So to do that, we need a person who has a plethora of experience in this field and also the expertise. So I'm very glad to say that it's going to be CK, Chendil Kumar, who's going to be doing this session today. And why is it Chendil Kumar? Here are a few reasons. Chendil has over 18 years of experience in sales and marketing of industrial consumables. He's now a full-fledged corporate trainer based out of Dubai. He's trained at the Harvard Law School for teaching negotiation in organizations. He's a faculty at IIM Bangalore since 2005, focusing on influencing skills, negotiation skills, and managerial communication. He's a program director of a highly successful workshop for entrepreneurs on strategic persuasion and negotiation skills. And the list actually goes on. CK has spoken at numerous TEDx events, I think 3 or 4 TEDx conferences. And recently he conducted the same workshop that you are going to witness today for the students at the Wharton Sales Club at Wharton. So please put your hands together to welcome and listen to Mr. Chendil Kumar.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you, Aditya. That was the second best introduction that I got in my life. The first time in a Rotary Club, the person who was supposed to introduce me did not turn up, and I had to introduce me myself. And I'm sure you know I would have done a flourishing job of it. Well, great. Just to add to what Aditya talked about selling, David Ogilvy, the founder of Ogilvy and Mather, an ad agency, has written a nice book called David Ogilvy on Advertising. In the second paragraph, he says, in ancient Greece, there were 2 speakers, Aeschines and Demosthenes. When Aeschines spoke, it seems the audience said, wow, what a fantastic speaker, what language, what eloquence. But when Demosthenes spoke, the audience got up from their seat and said, let us march against Philip. In fact, the objective of both the speakers was to get the audience roused up and get them to march against Philip, whereas Aeschines merely managed to impress this audience, whereas Demosthenes actually got them to do what he wanted. And in the next paragraph, David Ogilvy says, when I create an ad, I don't want you guys to say, wow, what a fantastic ad. I want you to find it so interesting that you go and buy the product. I think that's what selling is all about. And it's not just about coming out with what you want and things like that. More and more, I think selling is all about, do you know your audience? And very recently, an American delegation went to Saudi Arabia, and the discussion was going on very well. And towards the end, the American got up and said, do we have a deal? What do you understand by this statement? When somebody says, do we have a deal?
Everything looks good.
Do we have an agreement? But the Saudis could not understand the word deal. They asked, what is this deal? They said, this is a term used in poker. What is poker? It is gambling. And we are against any kind of gambling, and they called off the deal. Called off the negotiation. Very, very simple. So selling is not about what you know, but do you know your audience? And I'm telling you, the first point in persuasion or trying to get agreement is a very, very non-sexy word. It is preparation. If you ask a real estate agent the success For his profession, he will say location, location, location. For a master persuader, I will say preparation, preparation, preparation. Now, I talk to a lot of B school students. Some of them, not all of them, mind you, they think they're God's gift to mankind. There's overconfidence. What I tell them is have confidence in your abilities, but not overconfidence. Now, when you start around thinking that you know everything, you become like the final year student of agriculture who goes to an old farm and says, your method of cultivation is hopelessly outdated. I'll be astonished if you get even 10 kgs of apple from the street. The old man says, even I will be astonished because there's a mango tree. So confidence, good. Not overconfidence. I think when you start with this premise, persuasion becomes that much more easy. So what are we going to discuss in this, say, 45 minutes of our engagement is how can I persuade when I don't have the power? When I have the authority, when I have the title, it is very easy for anyone to persuade. But how do I do that when I don't have titles? You can persuade without a title if you are Sonia Gandhi. But unfortunately, not all of us are blessed to be in that exalted state. So how do we manage to get that persuasion is not only a focus of discussion. I'd like this to be participative. Please interrupt me anytime you want, share or question me, and that's what is going to make this session much more interesting. I have a friend who's from TCS who's already attended a program on assertiveness. Now my only request to you is I have a limited set of jokes. So please laugh at the appropriate moment. Right? It was quite a disarming thing. Right. Now, when I say sugarcane juice, what comes to your mind? Don't tell me sugarcane juice, but what comes to your mind when I say sugarcane juice?
Sweet.
Sweet, jaggery. Okay, what else?
Childhood.
Pardon?
Childhood.
Childhood.
Calories.
Calories. Roadside vendor. You normally have a roadside vendor. There's someone who pushes this sugarcane, somebody pulls it out, and a lot of flies are getting crushed in the bottom. That's what adds to the flavor, don't forget. In one word, sugarcane juice is an unhygienic drink. Many people may not want to risk. 4 years ago, a person called Shankar Rao changed the business in Bangalore. I'm sure you have it in Hyderabad also. He started something called Cane Ola, where you have sugarcane juice in an ice cream parlor like ambience, very clean, and the entire raw sugarcane is kept in front of you in a refrigerator, transparent refrigerator, and it is being crushed in an imported container. Not a single fly can dare to enter the place. Now, college kids are coming in droves and taking the sugarcane juice. In Bangalore, just a humble cup of coffee costs you 15 rupees, whereas this guy gives you such a big, mug for 10 rupees. What he did was he managed to change the perception that sugarcane juice is an unhygienic drink. And did he have great power? Definitely not. He was a retired government official, and his venture was awarded the hottest startup of the year in a competition conducted by Tata NEN in 2005. Again, no great power, but only thing is he had a technique, and that is changing the perception. One example. And until 2005, I'm sure you will all agree that Yahoo.com was the world's most visited website. Yes or no? Search engine, Yahoo. Internet commerce, Yahoo. Everything, Yahoo was dominating the sphere. But 2006, Google changed the business. They came out with the unlimited mailbox, they came out with a lot of innovative stuff, and slowly Yahoo was losing its ground. And then Brad Garlinghouse, a vice president, in the US, vice president doesn't mean much. You just want to boost somebody's ego, you give him a title. Right? A middle level executive or manager, he should